What's truly walking in the forests of the world? Are they large, upright, bipedal creatures? Are these just misidentifications known animals, or even humans? Welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Join your hosts Billy Willard and Gary Kendrick every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, as they take you on a journey into the unknown and mysterious. We bring you compelling eyewitnesses and dedicated researchers who delve into this enigma. Have you had a sighting or encounter? We'd love to hear your story and potentially have you as a guest on our show. Reach out to us at sasquatchwatchradio@gmail.com or connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, and our website squatchradio.com. We do this show for you, our amazing listeners, and we're incredibly grateful for your support. Now get ready for another exciting episode with your host, Billy Willard and Gary Kendrick.
In the heart of the forest, legends awaken from the shadows. The tales of Sasquatch echo through time, a mystery that remains unsolved.
As the smoke clears, the sign stands resolute, a beacon of intrigue. What secrets lie within the forest's depths? The quest for truth begins at Sasquatch Watch Radio. Here's Billy Willard and Gary Kendrick.
I guess I better unmute myself first. Want to welcome everybody to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is Monday, July 7th, 2025. We got a great show for you tonight. We've brought Mr. Dan Toth back. He is the retired Navy SEAL, or I guess we'll call him Navy SEAL veteran. Before we get him on the air, let's bring in our other host, Gary Kendrick. Gary is at the beach. I even had you muted. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm muted. Hey, everybody.
Wow. How you doing?
Doing great. Having a wonderful time down here.
That's great.
Really nice.
That's great. Well, one thing's for sure. At least you're relaxing.
Yes.
Yes.
It's nice.
No
it's
running
nice.
the campground right now.
Not right now. No, thank God.
All right, so without further ado, we're going to get our guest in here tonight. How you doing, Dan?
Doing very good. Thanks for having me on again. It's great.
Yeah.
Great to see everybody.
Yeah, it's great to have you back on.
Yeah.
And I know that you've had some exciting time over the last couple months between doing a conference and going out and doing some night op work and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's been a thrill. That's for sure.
Sounds like it.
Want to thank everybody for letting me be back on again too. And before we start tonight, if you don't mind, I'd like to, if everybody's privy to it, have a moment for the people in Texas, victims of the flood.
Amen.
Lost their loved ones and their children, which is pretty tragic.
Yeah.
And also, things like this happen. It's part of life. But another thing is the attack on the ICE agents today in Texas, right on their facility, which, to me, it just shows how out of control this mania is getting. But anyway, I just thought I'd reach out there and have a good word too for our law enforcement officials, our peace officers, and also the first responders, military personnel helping there with the tragedy of the floods in Texas. Because I know I did a couple of those volunteering for stuff like that when I was a SEAL years ago, and I know what it's like. So I just like to say that our hearts go out to you and our prayers for all of you involved, and we wish you the best in this recovery and in this time of sorrow and loss. So with that, we can get on with the show.
Yeah, I tell you, I saw some of the images of everything going on in Texas, and I saw this one guy that, from my understanding, he's been out there for hours searching, going through all that, piles of trees and everything, and he finally just broke down, and that's like an iconic picture right now.
Right.
Where he's standing there and he just finally just broke down. So, that is a heavy thing to deal with.
Well, it is. I mean, and not only that, but I mean, a lot of those people, sad to say, but it's just a stark reality is that they are going to find more, people that were victims of it that are deceased. And that's like I said, I mean, it's a heck of a thing. It was a horrible, unfortunate incident, and just wish them the best. And even the people that are out there still, looking for survivors or even the deceased, and the cleanup. I mean, everybody involved. That's an arduous task that they've got in front of them. So we can just pray that the good Lord blesses them and keeps them and gives them the strength to follow through with it and get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's really sad. One of the videos that I saw of it, and it kind of struck home with me because I do work at a campground, was that there was a campground there that was completely obliterated. There was no campers left, no nothing. And just speaking from experience, the camper that I have now weighs 10,000 pounds empty. And it just washed them away.
Yeah.
Yep.
That just shows you how powerful water can be once it gets going, because you look at some of these tsunamis that have been recorded, like in Thailand years ago, like right at Christmas. I remember that what year it was, but I mean, water, once it gets going, I mean, it's really bad. And
Yeah.
not that the damage that it can leave in its wake with its power. I mean, like Gary just said, I mean, I've seen videos with houses going down rivers that were swollen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Under an overpass, you know, from the pressure and the strength, pushed the daggone house right under the overpass. And, you know, so like I said, our hearts go out to those people and everybody involved, you know.
Yeah.
This is a real situation where we can pride ourselves in calling ourselves the true United States of America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But,
Well, the big underline under United.
exactly. And that's what United is. It's the people, you know.
Yep.
So God bless us all and, you know, keep up the good work, you know, in this situation and tragedy. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did your conference go in Colorado?
Went really good. I mean, made a lot of new friends. Dr. Meldrum's presentation on the Patterson Gimlin film at Willow Creek in '67 was great. And then got our Jim Myers from Sasquatch Outpost gave a great presentation on the day in the life of a Sasquatch researcher, which was really good. And then I did a review of everything that's pretty tangible and plausible and monumental from this past year's worth of work out in the field between Hans Peak area of Colorado and Red River, Bobcat Pass, New Mexico. So yeah, the people enjoyed it. We got incredible feedback from it.
Still use it.
And
You need it?
matter of fact, I met some people
Keep it right there. Just unplug it.
from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and we're going to move the big conference there next year.
Okay.
And the people that I met was Mark and Andrea Alley, and I've already been on Mark's show, which was great. I'm going on there again, but we are going to move the big conference to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho next year,
Okay.
on the weekend of July 25th and 26th. And we're going to, I'll be working on that in the next week or so to make the reservations for the facility. And then we'll get the publicity out and the advertisement. But it's going to be a good lineup. Dr. Meldrum will be speaking again. And I'll be speaking. And then Beans Baxter be coming down again from Homer, Alaska.
Okay.
So then this year we might do a 2-day event where we're going to have the presentations on Saturday, the 25th. And then the next day we might have workshops that I'm going to conduct along with Dr. Meldrum, one of his, and then Beans will probably do a workshop. So it'll be a 2-day event. And we're looking at having it at the Best Western Plus in Coeur d'Alene, one of the conference rooms. They've got a conference room there called the Hayden Room. I think we're going to have it in that one in honor of the people out in Hayden, Colorado. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Dan,
so
I got a quick question.
Pardon, Gary?
I got a quick question. If you bring Beans down from Alaska in July, you think he'll melt?
No, because his wife said she's bringing a 500-pound bag of ice to keep him in. I'm just joking. So we'll have to drill holes in the bag and let Beans stalk through the bag while he's sitting on the ice. He'll be all right. Beans is tough. Beans is tough. Don't worry about it. He'll be okay. And if he does melt, well, you know, we'll just have to pause the event and go in the back room and have a conference and try to figure out how to fix it. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
No, I hope that wouldn't happen because, you know, I think Beans is going to try to bring his wife next year, he said. So they come down. If that does happen, we'll let his wife handle it. We'll just go, hey, that's your.
That's right. That's your department.
That's your department.
That's your problem up there.
Well,
So
that would be fun to put on YouTube, wouldn't it? We could call it the Melting Man.
Yeah.
First there was the
You probably
Burning
make
Man.
big views on that one.
Yeah, no, first there was the Burning Man. Now there's the Melting Man.
That's right.
So Dan
Yeah.
Verax wants to know, what is the name of the conference?
It's the big conference. It's just called the Big Conference 2026. And
Okay.
we'll have it advertised on here on my website at BigfootInvestigativeGroup.com. And once we get everything lined up and, out there in the public, because we'll have it on here. I know Beans will I know Beans will advertise it, on the last Squatch radio. And then, of course, Mark and Andrea on Bobcat Berserk, which is a great venue. I don't know if you guys have ever met Mark and Andrea.
I don't think I have.
No, but his podcast is called Berserk Bobcat, and I really enjoyed being on there a couple of weeks ago with him. Plan on going on again, but that we'll be advertising the event, through his venue and everything else that I pick, online or through the media up there. So we got about a year, year and 2 weeks and a half, something like that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
everybody will be hearing about it, and we're hoping, with a new area, going to a new venue and a new location, I think that it'll be exciting. It'll be fun and be a good getaway trip for everybody too, that's heading up that way. You know what I mean? So yeah. So we'll let everybody know down the road as it progresses.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Sounds real good.
Yep.
All right. So you sent us some videos and photos and all types of different things to look at tonight.
Yeah, it'll be a fun night tonight. I'm gonna tell everybody that what I wanted to convey and let everybody know tonight is the fact that, when I'm out there doing this stuff at night, especially once it gets past 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really amazing, the stuff that goes on. But tonight, with the videos and the pictures that I have, and they're beyond mind-boggling, because once I start telling the story about the orb that we're going to see tonight, and I'll narrate that as we go through it, it's really, it makes it all worthwhile. When stuff like this happens with wildlife and other stuff when you're out there.
Yep.
It's fun, it's intriguing, get your adrenaline going a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, we'll go through all that as we plug along through these tonight.
All right. So which one do you want to start with?
We'll start with the moose.
Start with the moose.
Yeah, we'll start with the moose encounter. You can watch this short.
All right,
video.
here we go.
I kept it kind of short.
All right.
Yeah.
That was Bullwinkle.
That was,
Dude,
so what happened?
That was impressive.
Go ahead, Gary.
That was impressive. That was excellent video.
Thank
That
you.
was
Yeah,
impressive. That was excellent video.
Yeah, that's the way that happened is that I was coming up the road or down the road so I can tell people a story, from Columbine and Summit Creek. I'd been out there and I pulled over because I had an encounter with a fox in the field where you have the north entrance to Hans Peak Lake. And I didn't send you that video, but it's hilarious. But, like I said before, the fox came up to me in the dark and I just started talking to her. And she sat there and looked at me and I filmed it. I'll send you that video later. But when I looked down the road, I saw something moving through the trees on the edge of the road, and it was really big. And I thought, whoa, what the heck is that? So I got back in my car and I drove down to this spot, which was right on the other side of the entrance to the north end of Hans Peak Lake, going back there at the campground in the lake. Well, I couldn't find the image or the creature that I'd seen on my thermal down the road with the fox. So I got out of the car. I was like, where the heck did it go? I'm thinking maybe I'm going to get a good encounter here. Maybe it's a sighting. I don't know. Maybe it'll end up being a person, or a bear. I don't know, standing up. But all of a sudden, bullwinkle. I went to the other side of the road after I got out of my car. And I went down this embankment into this meadow. And the son of a gun came across the road behind me, the moose. And I heard him, his hooves. And I was like, oh, crap. And I was thinking, it's just an elk or a deer. But then all of a sudden I looked up and there's this monster moose. And he went right by me in the dark to my right side. He was probably about 20, 30 feet away from me. So I just froze, didn't move. And I took my camera that I was using and put it up under my arm like this. And I had my revolver on me, my 44, but I didn't even think 1 second about using it. But he just kept going. And at that point in the video that you see, that's where he moved to, and he kept his rear end toward me as he started browsing in those bushes. And I just sat there looking at him, and then I started talking to him. I said, hey, I guess here we are out here all dressed up, nowhere to go. But the moose, he just went about his business. And you can see in the video, it's not the whole encounter. It was too long to send you the film of the whole thing. But to my amazement, he kept his butt to me, his rear end. You can see he was browsing. And then he went up that hillside there, that little hillside. And in the video, up the hill a little bit, there's two clumps of bushes. He turned around and he looked at me again. And I was just standing there going, wow, this is unbelievable. But he bedded down there. He just lay down. Wow. Yeah, I've got the video. We can look at that video the next time, but I was just minding my P's and Q's, and then he bedded down right in front of me on that rise. And then I thought, this is unbelievable. He was a pretty big bull. And he was chewing his cud, doing his thing. And I was like, wow.
I mean, for anybody that's in the audience tonight, just so you know, a moose is probably one of the most aggressive animals in North America.
Mm-hmm.
They have absolutely no problem with killing somebody.
Oh yeah, I know. And when he did that, and I saw, because I even came back a little bit later, and I got more video where he came back toward me again down that embankment, and he started browsing again, and I was like, wow, he's not even bothered. And I was talking to him like I do. People that know me, I was like, hey, what are you eating? Just saying stuff. I joke around like that, but I do. I talk to animals, and I really think I'm becoming convinced 100% in my life that talking to animals, in an amicable tone of voice, whether they're domestic or wild, I really think it does wonders for keeping the peace.
Oh, yeah.
What I mean?
Daniel Barracks wants to know, was that shot on a FLIR?
No, that was an ATN. Yeah, ATN device, not thermal, not a FLIR. And I use ATN. Matter of fact, next video you're going to see, I bought a brand new Blaze Track 2 ATN about a month ago and started using it. And the next video we look at with this encounter with the buck mule deer is really amazing. So that's the moose encounter for everybody's edification. It's pretty neat. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, yeah. So now we'll go ahead and play the big buck.
Yeah, this was great. The buck, you can watch this. It comes right up to me while
I tell you what, that I have to say, that thing has a very clear, crisp image.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the new Blaze Trek 2 I bought.
Yeah.
About $1,800 device, but I got tired of the old blurry one and I decided to go ATN again.
Yep.
And
That's
I guess
phenomenal.
too, yeah, but that, I was talking to that buck. You can see how he stops and he's just looking at me, listening to me. Yeah.
Turns his head too.
And it was funny because, you know, the video and the encounter lasted a lot longer, but he stood there for about 12 minutes while I was talking to him. And you can see he's looking right at me and listening.
Mm-hmm.
Then he walked off and took off with the other two big bucks because he was with these two older males, you know, that were up the meadow and they were grazing and browsing. But he took off and went back up there. And you could see the difference in the size of the rack between the older bucks. So he was a young one, so they were in a trio. But that one just cracked me up because of the way he stood there. You can see he's looking right at me and you can see the intense, like his froze gaze looking at me. And I was even thinking to myself, I thought, I wonder if he'll come closer because he really wasn't that far away in that video there, you know, but it was a lot of fun. So that incident occurred at about 12:45, I think it was. I forgot what was on the counter, but about 15, 20 minutes later, this is the beef for the night.
Oh boy.
I was standing there. I went back up to my car to get some water, and I got back out of the car, and I was standing there, and I walked off the edge of the road. I was heading back down that way, and then I stopped, and I turned around, and I was looking to see where the bucks were, and they'd moved to the right of the meadow where you just saw that video at. And I mean, people that have been in the military and done things, I'll call it done things. I just got this, I guess you got it, I got this gut sixth sense feeling. And I took the new ATN I had and I put it up under my armpit. And I was about 20 feet from my car. Yeah. I started looking around because I just got this weird feeling. I looked up and thought, what the hell, you know? And I took the ATN and stuck it up. And over my head, right there, about 20 feet over my head was an orb. And I'm like, right, there was an orb. It was glowing, and I could only see it with the night or the thermal device because I just looked there and hadn't seen it before. And I stood there and I thought, what the hell? I mean, I'm just telling you what happened, what went on with me. It was about 20 feet over my head. And then I'm not going to lie to everybody, just for the sake of the incredible account and, you know, conveying it to you for tonight. I literally looked at the thing and I said, what the hell are you doing? And that's exactly what I said. So what are you doing spying on me? I mean, who are you? What do you want? Let's talk. And the thing started moving across the field and the road. And I was looking at it. And then, you know, I got in that wrapped up in the moment thing. And then I just pushed the button, which is great with this new ATN device I've got. The new one I've got, you can just hit the button and it starts filming video, which was great. And the part one that we're going to see here in a minute, it was amazing because I started talking to the thing in a more stern voice. And I told it, I said, hey, I can see you. I know I can see you. And can you talk? What are you? Because I thought it's got to be under intelligent control, of course. So I figured maybe it can hear me and understand me. And in the video, when I started getting a little stern with it, from the edge of the road, across the road, and into the field where it had moved to, it starts moving back and forth. I mean, you'll see it in the video while I'm getting stern with it. And I said, hey, you know, people on this planet don't like being snuck up on. That's what I said. Because I didn't know what the heck to think or do. But the thing was close and you'll see it. And when I started talking to it and I said, why don't you come over here and communicate? It starts moving back and forth like a jittery, nervous pace in the sky, if you will, if that makes sense. So At that point, it disappears, which you'll see in the video. It just disappears in the sky. It just closes in on itself, as I say. And I waited about 15, 20 seconds, and I put the ATN device up under my armpit like this again. And I thought, I'm going to wait about 15, 20 seconds and look back up there again. And sure enough, I did, and I caught it again. It had reappeared, and I could only see it with the ATN device. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, I said, hey, I yelled at it. I said, hey, I see you again. You're not fooling me. And then you'll see it in part 2 when it takes off. And it's heading for the southwest, towards Sand Mountain and the microwave tower. And then it goes into a cloud in part 2. But we can watch part 1 now that you've got the narrative. You can see it, and then we'll go to
here. All right, here we go.
So then when you look at part 2, part 2 is when it reappears and I catch it again and it takes off for this cloud. We can watch part 2.
Yeah, let me make sure I'm doing the right one. Is it the one that says Clark part 2?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That thing's moving pretty quick.
Well, that distance, that distance that's right there, I already measured it on the map. We covered that in about 12, 15 seconds. And that's about 3.5 miles, I think. 3 miles, 3.5, 4.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy. But there's the proof. There's the evidence. And you can see, that was a crazy encounter. Like,
just for the record, that looks eerily familiar.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, that device is brand new. It doesn't lie, and you saw it. And, they're looking at it with the naked eye, too, or filming it with the naked eye through the device. I was standing there the whole time going, I can't believe this is happening. But the thing is, the very next day, I was out because, like I told you before, I go back to places sometime to look at stuff. And hey, you want to run that again, Gary, and we can stop it at that point I was telling you about earlier?
Yeah, let me see if I can. Let me see if it'll let me stop it.
Yeah, just curious.
You're talking about right when it goes into the clouds, right?
No, I'll tell you when to stop it, because the object that I caught. Well, if it's too hard to do, we won't do it.
Let me try something real quick. Let me see if it lets me stop. Nope, it won't let me do it.
All right, no worries. We can do it. We'll do that. We'll do that on the next show, next time I'm on.
Maybe take a still shot of it or something.
Yeah, I'll send you the still of it. But anyway, the very next day, I was doing my retracing stuff I told you, where, I go to look at stuff, and took this picture of the area I was working in, the Willow Creek area there, and didn't even know it was there until I looked at the picture on my computer, a couple days later. But the object that the orb went to, which I'm convinced of, I sent you stills of plus the object that I caught during the daytime at Willow Creek.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll do a comparison because it's really, what do you call it? Fortuitously amazing that, this stuff is happening the way it has.
Mm-hmm.
And that I've been fortunate enough to catch this stuff and photograph it and video it. But we'll look at that first picture that I sent you. I think got them in the order.
Oh, you got them in order? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So let me open the first one up here. Give me just a second. Here we go.
Okay, this is Willow Creek, and I'm coming down the road, probably about a mile on this dirt road from where I spotted the orb and had the encounter the night before. But in the picture there, where the black arrows are, I didn't even see this in the picture because I was taking a picture out there of the Zirkle Mountains. Those are the Zirkles. I'm way out in the distance. But when I was analyzing my photography and my pictures, I caught this disc, and it's in the front on the left, that object moving through the sky. It wasn't even visible to the naked eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's leaving a contrail behind it. You can see the three distortions in the clouds,
Mm-hmm.
and the clouds in the sky there behind it. You can see the solid object in the front to the left, and then the three, ghost images or contrail items and behind it, in the second, third, and fourth. So we can go to the next one. We'll blow that up.
All right. Let me get this one.
Yeah.
Pull the other one up.
It's turning out to be a lot of fun, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm fascinated.
Oop, wrong button. Here we go.
Nope, that's it. That's the last one.
Oh, that's the last one?
Yeah, we want to see that one last.
Okay, it's me. I wonder why it put it out of order for me.
That's all right. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah, I wonder which one's the right one. Let's see. Will it be the one called close up, rectangular shape?
Yeah, you can use that one. Yeah,
Okay.
because I can really jump around now.
Now, was that taken with just a regular digital camera?
This is my cell phone. Now, this particular image I found to the left of the orb and the video, and I freeze framed it because this particular object in the night sky taken the night before, I found it in the video, is the same identical outline as the object that you just saw in the daytime. But if you look at this thing, it was about half a mile to the left of where the orb the night before went into the cloud. But if you look at this object, it stayed there stationary for an extended period of time with no distortion of the cloud or the vapor, which is almost virtually impossible. And if you look at it close enough, you'll see the beaded type pattern of vapor on the bottom of it. It looks like one of those old light chains, that used to pull the light. But that object is the same object outline or profile of the one you just saw in the day. And now we can go to the next one.
Yeah, if I get the right one.
Yeah, even if it's not, I can jump around now. But that last one before, that's the one we want to look at last. Please, thank you.
Yeah.
So there it is at a distance, and you can see the landscape from the ridge line down there in the lower left corner. And you can see the counters at 00:59, just a few minutes before or after the orb. But you can see that in that picture, it's holding its own, as what looks like a gaseous cloud of some sort. It's not distorting. And there's none of the beads. The beads aren't showing on the belly or the bottom of it, the beaded vapor pattern.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that right there, I was looking at it and I started watching it because I spotted it, and from my experience as a SEAL, I thought, that cloud or what looked like a cloud, you can look at that thing and tell with the other cloud behind it and the cloud that the orb flew into. I was standing there going, you know what? Something's hiding in there.
Yeah.
Something's hiding in there. So yeah, we can go to the next one.
Okay.
Right. Compare the daytime one with the nighttime.
Oh, okay. Let me pull that one up because I see it.
Yep.
Yep. So let me put that one. There we go.
So this is the daytime object taken the next day, then the nighttime object. And like I said, that front object there, and you can see the ghost images that it's leaving behind it.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it with the naked eye until I looked at the picture when I took it. And my son years ago had a similar incident at the Torrey Pines Inn where he took a picture of one of the golf course fairways years ago in San Diego, Torrey Pines. And when he looked at the picture later, he sent it to me, and then he sent it to me. Well, he sent it to me after he looked at it. There was a silver metallic UFO that showed up in the picture that you could see tearing down the beach there at the cliffs at Torrey Pines, over the ocean. And his camera caught it, and he sent it to me years ago. And I remember asking him, he was younger then. I was like, no, you didn't even see that? And he goes, no, Dad, just showed up. And it was a clear disc-shaped object, flying along the coastline there, at the Torrey Pines golf course. But in this, comparison between the thermal the night before and the camera, my cell phone camera, the next day, you can see it's the same object. It just looks like it's going in a different direction. The night one's going right or sitting there looking like it's going to go right. And the other object is going left. And if you look close at those images, like ghost trail, contrail images that it's leaving from the years of, studying the UFO phenomenon too, right away, my memory brain went off and I dug up this old picture that we'll look at next. The last one that we had a minute ago. One. Yeah.
Yep.
This is really phenomenal. So the top picture was an old picture taken from a research crew on a ship or a vessel, I think, if I remember the story. And this was in Brazil of January of 1958 that the individual took this picture from the boat or the ship that they were on. I think it was a research vessel. But that's the object that this man photographed with an old camera in January of 58. Then look at the tail and the contrail images that the UFO is leaving behind it that I just took in June of 25 in Clark, Colorado. Kind of look familiar. I mean, whatever's going on there, it's the same daggone impression or object or profile or image or whatever you want to call it, especially the front one. The front one there, right behind the object, second one to the right, it's the same exact image.
Yeah.
Exact profile. Yeah. So I thought that was amazing because I just remembered that and I thought, I'd show that to everybody. But that black object there showed up in the daytime. I'm convinced that that's the same object that probably the orb went through the cloud and hid and then rendezvoused with. I don't know. Who knows? I'm just speculating, but it's daggone pretty compelling. What do you call it? Coincidental evidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
Pretty neat, huh?
Yeah.
It is pretty crazy. And
No,
I noticed too, like the first contrail image, all the way to the right hand side of the screen is exactly, I mean, it's almost a mirror image. I mean, it's hard to see. If you concentrate and look at it, it is almost identical to the picture from 1958.
exactly.
And it looks to me, I mean, you might be better at this than I am because UFOs is kind of not my thing, but it looks to me like whatever it was had been stationary there and had like bursts of speed where it moved up. It's
Yep.
called distortion.
Yep.
And it's like the camera just caught the ghost images of it. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty amazing because, I mean, you can see that black object. I even laughed because I thought it looked like Superman flying at a distance without his cape on. Faster than a speeding bullet. And I thought, the hell's Superman flying around without his cape on for? But yeah, I mean, it does kind of look like a person flying through the sky to a degree.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, it's like totally unbelievable. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that with everybody tonight because it was
That
nuts.
is a big object too.
Pretty
whatever.
cool. That's pretty cool.
Anyway, you can see what kind of stuff happens out there at night when you're doing your thing per se. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, do we have a
Very
couple-
interesting.
Yeah, good. So
Yeah, we still got 14 minutes.
well, good. We can answer some questions, and
Yep. So let me
people want to ask
Yeah.
some questions. We can do that.
let's see. Somebody made a comment here, right here. Mr. Duffy says that I've seen the same UFO here in Colorado that was on a video in Thailand on another YouTube channel. It looks like it has two spotlights that are spinning and it shows up in the clouds.
Yep. I mean, the thing is, I didn't even know that thing was there. I never saw it with my naked eye until, like I said, in regards to Mr. Duffy's comment there. When you see it with the naked eye, you got to figure it's moving pretty fast for the phone to catch it like it did. But, whatever they're doing, and it would have been great to get it on video like the orb, but, that's a good speculation. It could be rotating. And, when you get a correlation and a comparison between a night image and a day image, it opens up possibilities to get a little bit more evidence and facts, or even trying to figure the thing out,
Right.
what's it doing. So wasn't fortunate enough to get it moving on video during the day, but that's a good thesis of what it's doing. And it could be doing that. We don't know till we get it on video,
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, and this is purely speculation, Daniel, but I want to ask this. Do you think that the orb was like watching you? Or do you think it was there for some other purpose?
No, because I'll tell you the truth. About a year ago, I had an incident with the same object where it got close to me, and it was only about 20 feet off the ground. And I only got stills of it that night. And then I watched it because it happened so fast. It came, turned around and saw it. And then I snapped a picture of it. And then boom, like they do, they don't go out like a light. They kind of compress into themselves to a pinpoint, like a critical mass thing. And then this thing really, and I didn't, I thought, okay, I just saw that and I got a still of it because it happened so fast, but I blew it up, looked at it, and it is a circle, and it was almost maybe 5-10 feet over my head, at eye level in this, little clearing where I was. And I thought, okay, I got a rule too. If it happens 3 times, then I'll start thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I see this thing, 3 times.
I know I talked about this on another show. I've had some encounters with the orbs, the lights.
Yeah.
And I actually saw one that started. It was like about 3 feet in front of me. It was about the size of the tip of my little finger, and it just started glowing. And it got bigger. And it got up about the size of a softball, something about like that. and then it started floating up, and it got a little bit bigger as it went up. I think maybe, I don't know, it went up probably maybe 30, 40 feet. And the guy that was with me, he said, "What is that?" I said, "I don't know." And he
Yeah,
said, "What?"
exactly.
And I said, "I don't know about you, but I'm out of here."
Yeah, well, years ago, I picked my kids up, my daughter and son, from school one afternoon out here in Colorado, and we were sitting at a stoplight, and my daughter, God love her, she leaned forward because she always sat in the front seat of the van. And she looked up and she goes, "Dad, what the hell is that?" I think she was 13 or 14 at the time, and I went, "What?" And I looked up, and there's this silver object, about 75, 100 feet up in the air over us, right over this intersection out here in Erie, Colorado. Not Erie, but Lafayette. And I was like, "What the heck?" And then these two little silver orbs were going around it and then went into it. Then my son saw it. He leaned forward. Both my kids saw it. We all saw it. And then it just, boom. It was like somebody just let it go with a 5,000-pound rubber band.
Yeah.
I mean, it was gone. And I was like, "What the?" And, me and my son and daughter were sitting in the van at the light looking at each other. And I remember, Noah was really young at the time, but he got a little bit upset over it. I said, "Calm down. It's not going to hurt us. It's gone." But, we saw this thing in broad daylight over an intersection, in one afternoon. And it, and I, even to this very day, once in a while I'll ask my kids, I'll go, "Hey, you remember that day?" And they go, "Oh, how can we ever forget that?" So, and like I said, I'm not associating UFOs with Sasquatch or nothing, but I just thought it was incredible that this incident occurred that night when I was out there looking. And, it's not the first time that some type of unidentified aerial phenomenon, as they call them, has happened out there at night when I'm out there and I saw it. But this was the first time I had the opportunity to, film it and record it, especially on
Let me show you. We'll show you one, Dan, that we took out at Spotsylvania County.
Yeah.
This was taken in the daytime by one of our members. He wasn't even aiming at it. He was aiming at scenery.
Yep.
And it just showed up.
Yep. That's what
happened. What he did was he did some filters so that he could see if it was a real object,
Right.
And me just pull it up. You can actually see like the direction. It's almost like what you were saying, with a contrail or whatever behind it.
Yeah.
I'll show you here.
And that's how I found or spotted that one. I didn't even know it was there.
All right. Yeah. Gonna come up? Not coming up for some reason. Let me try it again.
The wonders of modern technology.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let me try something. I'm gonna try something different. We'll see if I can pull it up a different way.
Yeah. Every time you need something important or you want something important with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't get it.
Yeah, but I think I can pull it up a different way.
It's true too. It happens like that all the time.
Oh yeah, all the
Seems
time.
like it never fails.
Yep, never fails. Look at that. It ain't gonna let me pull it that way either.
We can do it on the next show.
That's like the supply kit. It always has everything except what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Let me try something different. See if it'll do it this way. That is so weird. It will not let that image go up on there. That's strange. Huh. Okay. Well, I tried.
That was definitely an interesting video because you can see movement in it.
No, yeah. You talking about the orb?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Well, the thing
We
that got
saw
me is,
when we was in Spotsylvania County, Dan, we saw them like every night. I mean, and we had an incredible amount of of things that happened all at one time in that one area. We had light, we had the orbs. I witnessed lights in the sky. The whole sky lit up like a football stadium for a second, and nobody else saw the light but me and that other dude.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
We
I
had
know.
an incredible screen. We found footprints. I mean, it was just it was a pretty incredible place.
Yeah. Well, it's a mystery. It's an enigma, that's for sure. And I'm not really going
Got
to
it.
say.
There it is.
Got it.
Hey, you got it there. Yep. I've seen that before.
Like I say, he was just taking a picture and caught it. I mean, in reality, it was bright white, like a really bright white. And he just played around with some filters,
Yeah.
and that's when he was
Wow.
able to see that tail, like on the right side. So,
Yep. Well, that's what I mean. And you know, with all the technology and plus cameras that people have nowadays, you know, and everything, it's like, I don't know, man. It's that, and I mean, with that video that I got out there about a month ago now, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. I mean, how much more proof do you need? Especially the fact that, you know, I'm always looking around, you know, situational area awareness.
Oh yeah.
Like, when I was on before, when I had I'm pretty sure it was the same mountain lion, but this mountain lion at Bobcat Pass, New Mexico, she walked up on me twice. Yeah. You know, a couple times I was out there. And after that, I thought I got to start paying attention what's going on around me. But I didn't see it with the naked eye. And then all of a sudden I see it with the thermal.
right.
You know, and it wasn't giving off a signature. And as you could see on the ATN thermal, I had it set on alarm, they call it now. It used to be called, well, they still call it red hot. So like you said, when we were talking before, for that thing to show up like that on red hot, it's not giving a signature. It's got to be cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, how the hell is it showing up as
Right.
a cool object on a technology or tech device that we use that's set on red hot?
Yep.
I mean, that's this, you know, you're going to sit there and do this. I mean,
Right.
it's
Now
almost,
see this one here in front of that bush, you can see it's moving upward.
yeah,
Yep.
That's not a raindrop.
no,
It's going up.
Rain
Yeah.
don't follow up.
yeah. Maybe it's Tinkerbell. Just joking. it's Tinkerbell in her.
It's just
Sure.
weird.
That's Tinkerbell in her battle armor. She's got
And
her.
you know, that's the thing. That was probably what, 13 years ago, Billy, maybe more,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
15. And
Yeah,
I have
let's-
tried that entire time to explain the lights and the things that we saw, and
Yeah,
I can't.
no, you can't.
I've run through multiple possibilities of what it could be. I've tried. I've researched some scientific stuff to see if I couldn't find an explanation for it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And that's the thing. People are videoing and taking shots of these things, more and more every day now. Because even with the, what do you call it? The technology that's going into cell phone cameras
Oh yeah.
nowadays is phenomenal. I mean, what people have in their hand anymore. I mean, they've
Mm-hmm.
even made they've got cell phone cameras now that you can put in night mode,
Oh yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I mean, the people that are out there doing it, have at it and keep up the good work, because it's just another big mystery. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
well, like with me, when that situation and incident of mine with the orb I filmed on my new ATN, I'm not going to lie to everybody. I talked to the thing. I tried to communicate with it. I was literally going, "Hey, why don't you talk? Can you communicate?
Right.
Send me something telepathically, as long as you don't fry my cerebral cortex."
And, Dan, I said it for a long time.
Huh?
And we went to the moon with a computer that was less complicated than the cell phone that we all carry in our pocket.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And we haven't done anything since.
Yep. Yeah, which is another mystery, because there's a lot of speculation that the several of the Apollo astronauts on lunar landings had sightings and some type of interaction with extraterrestrial beings on the lunar surface. I don't know if that's true or not, But, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories out there, and I don't know, but, it's crazy because I guess it boils down to the fact that, God made a big universe. It's endless, it's infinite, and, I don't think we're the only ones out here or in it. I mean, I think I've always said that's like making all the oceans and the water in the world, for one breed or species of fish.
Yeah.
When you think of the amount of life that exists in the oceans, and lakes, and ponds, I mean, even staring at a mud puddle with daggone mosquito larvae in it, or pollywogs, frog, tadpoles developing. I mean, we're not the only ones out here, and that's a mystery. But sooner or later, I don't know, maybe they will land on the White House lawn and do the old thing, take me to your leader. I don't know, but until then.
And another thing too, I noticed you had some pictures from Willow Creek, and it's funny that you got Willow Creek, and then you had Willow Creek, which is adjacent to Bluff Creek in California. Seems
Yeah,
like
I know.
all this stuff happens at Willow Creek.
I mean, I don't know if people can see it. Look, there's Franny the fox. She was my buddy out there for a long time. Franny got to point shade out of my hand once, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there looking at this stuff and investigating it, for years, and I'm sooner or later somebody's got to hit pay dirt with it, and that's why it's important for everybody to, I guess I use the term, keep the faith and keep plugging away. You know what I mean? Because sooner or later somebody's going to hit pay dirt with all this stuff. It's not going to happen all at once. Maybe sporadically, or and I think that's going to happen with the impetus of everybody staying determined and dedicated, and just keeping up the great work and staying out there and beating the pavement, as they say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to steal a line from Thomas Steenberg. He says, within the next 5 years, he says.
Yeah. Get your Bigfoot Sasquatch guide. Get your field guide. Make sure you have one.
Dr. Meldrum will thank you for advertising for him.
Get an animal track guide, because I love this thing, because it not only tells you what's on the ground, see there, but it tells you what are in the prints. So if you're gonna have a run-in with Bullwinkle or Yogi, make sure because you see those bear tracks, you don't think that's the people that live next door to you.
Right.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead.
No, go ahead, Billy. I'm good.
I was just gonna. I was gonna just say. We will. Before we go off the air next week, we're gonna have that lady that works for. Goodness, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
I've got it wrote down, but I don't have that paper with me.
Her name is Heidi Hollis, and she works for. That's terrible. I can't even think right now. My brain is fried.
That happens.
Oh yeah, he's like been around for like 40 plus years doing radio late at night.
Coast. What's
coast to coast, right?
Coast to coast.
Yeah. So we're gonna have her on next week, and so that should be interesting too, because she's, they do all kinds of stories, even stories I don't want to hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not family oriented.
Just when you get in to that ghost stuff and all that, I don't even want I don't want none of that stuff. So
yeah.
But she claims she's had a couple of encounters,
right?
With what she thinks is Bigfoot. So I said, well, we'll get you on the show and you can talk about it. So
right. Does she live out in the woods?
She lives. She's somewhere over on the West Coast.
Really?
I had to look her up, but Yeah, she's somewhere over there. I'm sure Gary, I don't know if Gary started his research yet, but
Yeah. Well, to really draw them in, you need a fire pit with some root beer and s'mores.
yeah, that's all it takes.
Just
Yeah.
joking.
Fry up. All you got to do is fry up some food and,
Right.
yeah.
She's had multiple encounters.
Is it George Norrie?
George Norrie. That's it.
George
George Norrie. Yeah.
Yeah, heard of him.
It's a shame I couldn't even think of that. So,
I had to
all
look
right.
at-
Well, Dan, do you got anything else before we close it out?
No, I got any more questions? Any last minute questions?
I don't see. Do you see anything, Gary? In there?
I'm looking, but I don't.
Okay, yeah, I don't see anything.
Cool. Good.
Okay.
Well, I hope
So I
everybody
think-
enjoyed the show.
Yep, I'm sure they did. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out the show, and as usual, Dan, if you can hang on
Yeah,
so that we can chat after we close everything out.
we'll do.
All
Thanks
right,
for-
and
Good to see everybody again. Thanks for having us, and enjoy your week in summer and be safe. All right.
yep, sounds good.
Sure.
And guys, we will be back next Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll have Heidi Hollis on. She works for George Norrie on Coast to Coast, so we'll have her on. She's got some encounters she wants to talk about, so we'll be here to let her say her piece. So thank you guys, and you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next Monday night, 9. Have a
We'll
good one.
do. Night,
Night,
everybody.
everybody.
Take care. God bless.
Sasquatch Watch Radio, the official podcast partner of Big. We've got groundbreaking news that'll shake the very foundations of the cryptid community. Sasquatch Watch Radio is incredibly proud to announce our exclusive podcast partnership with Big, the Bigfoot Investigative Group. For the first time ever, you'll get an inside look into the world of Bigfoot investigations through the eyes of true American heroes. Big is comprised of an elite team of United States Navy SEAL veterans, United States Marine Corps veterans, and United States Army veterans, bringing their unparalleled discipline, strategic thinking, and investigative prowess to the hunt for Sasquatch. Prepare for an auditory adventure like no other. Starting this Monday, tune in at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for thrilling new interviews and occasional updates directly from the Bigfoot Investigative Group. Sasquatch Watch Radio is honored to be the official podcast of Big's Navy SEAL team, and we can't wait to share their incredible work with you. Don't miss out. Monday nights at 9 p.m. ET, only on Sasquatch Watch Radio.
Thanks for tuning in to Sasquatch Watch Radio. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Stay connected. Don't miss our next exciting show, airing next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. To stay updated, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd also love for you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/Sasquatch Watch Radio and check out our website at squatchradio.com. Share your stories and feedback. Your feedback means the world to us, so please give us a thumbs up on our shows and let us know what you think. Have you had an encounter? If you've had a sighting or encounter, we want to hear from you. Reach out to us through our website, YouTube channel, or Facebook page. And if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next Monday night.